Hey, this is ReapenWolf-VA-Gaming, and welcome back to RoadWarden. Travelers don't know people, just stories. No, I just woke up a little bit, so my voice sounds a little different, that's why. Yeah, so we're going to continue here where we left off. We were in this peaceful town. It's called Howler's Dell, right? The grandmothery mayor is offering us some great food. But I think we left off saying that we get to the more important stuff, right? Sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grain and vegetables, with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly, so we don't need your guards on our walls. But a lone road warden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol the paths, even the heart of the woods. That's what we'd expect in return. You're not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Crispus. You vaguely recognize the name of this tailor shoemaker, but you've never earned enough to pay him for as much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel and bronze. We like the oil alloys for sickles and sickles and scythes. She then repeats her question about starting a trade route. So, nowadays, most people wear cotton, right? Cotton or synthetic fiber of some sort made of plastics, like polyester and spandex and all that, right? But linen actually lasts much longer, right? You can even find clothing from way back when that's made of linen. And to make linen, you need flax and their fibers, right? But flax, what's it called? It's very difficult to grow, right? It only has a particular season it wants to grow in, and you need a lot of it to make the stuff. So that's why it can be. If you're in a city, there's no land to grow farm, you know, like for farming at all. So out here in the wilderness, where there's plenty of land that's not used, sounds like a good deal. Truth be told, the guild is not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Understandable, but you won't find much in the other tribes. They have barely enough to survive, even after they trade for our crops. For we have the only decent soil in this realm. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while Creek sells meat and wood. Actually, if you haven't been in the creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping the roads safe. It says creeks. The farthest village in the northeast. Okay. They could use your help with keeping the roads safe, while Marcia's, on the other hand, as well as Old Pagos, are close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up, walks to another table, and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself, with a trembling voice. He thanks her and then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down and wipes her hand into a clean cloth, adjusts the folds of her cape, and once again crosses her legs. So tell me, Mr. Wolf, how's H-Town? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. I mean, as an elderly guy, right? Some people, when they get into like these old folk homes, they can't even chew their food anymore, right? They have to have somebody else chew it for them or make it super soft. So this soggy bread is exactly what they can actually eat in the first place. It's really nice that she did this. Not only does she take care of like the children and such, but she takes care of the elderly. This is a good woman. So what do we tell her? We have 3 options here. Things stay humble but are starting to look brighter. Harbor's full of life and the kids grow strong. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bed, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. It's far from great. Children who lost their parents during the war have no trade in hand. There's not enough settlements to send them away. Many people are unable to prosper. I'm not sure what's true, to be perfectly honest. Excuse me. I kept getting a frog in my throat there. What I did notice when I was over here in the journal, right, is that we can learn much, much more, and there's so much information about these other places, right? We can learn about what humans we've met and what people have said about them too, right? So if you forgot what they were talked about, you can come back in here and learn about it. So even like the bestiary over here, right? As we go along, we can find out more about these types of things we've come across, right? And you could sit here and read this all if you really want to. I may read this if we ever run across them. That might not be a bad idea. Like we ran across these griffins, right? But what I was looking more for is Hovalan, right? Hovalan? Lavalan? One of the greatest harbors in the Dragonwoods in the heart of the northwestern province of the 10 cities. I was hired by its officials and merchants. According to Tula, she told us more about the military, but we didn't learn anything else about what their life is like there. But it's the heart of the 10 cities, so they're setting out these expeditions, if you will, through these road wardens. So I would say something in the middle, right? No city is perfect. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bed, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. And I was afraid it was lost to hunger, a chuckle is trimmed with scorn. Good to know I was wrong. When the invasion started, some merchants were cheering in their houses, happy that they would sell out all the blades and food they had stored. Can you believe it? This panic will make us rich. She imitates the voice of a pompous man. That's why when the Southerners reached the villages, they found almost nothing to eat, she sighs. Staying on a remote peninsula truly can be a blessing. She pauses, hesitant to go on, and shakes her head slightly. Well, we can't change the past. How can I help you, Mr. Wolf? That's interesting, right? They were a land that untouched by war, which is a great place to be. I'm looking for Asterion. She stares you in the eyes, then turns towards Lamb. Is your palfrey a mare? We have 2 jacks, could use some mules. A stallion, so it wouldn't give you anything stronger than a hinny. It is, but I needed to stay strong and healthy. I'm looking for Asterion. Right, there's no time for romances of brought animals. It would take almost a year, correct? It was all just a thought. Her eyes return to you, they gain their sharpness. I'd rather avoid long talks with that man. Let him remain as a part of the past spring. Since you're asking about him, I can only assume he was indeed sharing his goal with you. We can lie here. Well, I know nothing about it. I'll get paid for finding him, that's all. I won't deny that. Yeah, you're already different from him. I like it when travelers don't try to sell me bluegrass. Seeing your frown, she waves it off. It's just a saying. His words were stronger than his deeds. And he's no longer welcome here. Wow. So, this guy was an asshole. People were saying that people liked him, but not so much here in this quiet town. If the quiet people don't like you, it's that's something to say. I mean, also from that information, we've apparently made a good impression too. What are his wrongdoings? If you have to know, he failed and won't get a second chance. He is meant to escort Agidia, a daughter of mine, to her betrothed in Gale Rocks. She was a great archeress, and the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through, right into their trap. She touches her deer-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A RoadWarden worth their gruel should know better. You can fight with a blade, but my girl, she never had a chance. And she sighs and looks at the game. He appeared soon after his pitiful attempt, apologizing to me. We closed our doors behind him for good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. Wow. He fucked up. She probably told, I don't know. Was it really his fault? I mean, yes, she was his charge, right? He was supposed to protect her. with his knowledge and his prowess. And he didn't have to take that fight. He made a decision to push on. But sorry about that. I had to cough again. Hey, I'm back. I had to walk away for a little bit. But yeah, you get the city of Hoverland, H-Town. There's not much they could tell us about it, so let's return back here. Let's see. Any ideas where we can find the previous RoadWarden? She adjusts her cape with an annoyed shrug. Try asking him for him in the north. Oops, I think I muted the game too. Oopsie. There we go. She adjusts her cape with an annoyed shrug. Try asking him in the north. He spends most of his time in the White Marshes. Gale Rocks and Creeks. Here, he wasn't that eager to share his plans. Why'd you let him leave? He didn't do anything, well, forbidden by our laws. He was simply stupid and can't be trusted. But this isn't H-Town. We have no rich folk to dread. We treat each other fairly. Lost in her thoughts, she rubs the neckline of her dress. One good thing I can say about him is that he didn't try to justify his decisions, or to avoid the consequences. But I'd rather have him prove first he can do what we asked of him. Did you ever find your daughter? For a few breaths, her green eyes seek something in your face. Her words are careful yet hesitant. She's with the Fogs now. The goblins were after food, so they carried her shell away. One day she's going to charge at our walls, awoken and empty. Even though she was a bit mawkish, her heart was strong and patient. She listened to people, was ready to help them, and to cry with them. I could tell you stories, but what for? Let the dead rest. You have quite a big family. She teeters weakly. At one point, there were 12 kids living in our house. 9 girls, 3 boys. They come and go, and as it should be. A few are already with the forest, but most are all grown up now. Even started their own families. She looks away at a girl whipping spilled milk with or wiping. That'd be pretty hard to do, to whip milk. I mean, never mind. Whipped milk. Make some cream. Or butter, I guess. To be perfectly clear, they aren't exactly our children. It's a custom of our village for the mayor to look after the orphans. Thankfully, Eric's has a big heart and much more patience than I do. As she speaks, her smile widens. I mean, has anybody ever made fresh butter, right? Oh, it's so good. I mean, usually you're using cream, right? But if you're getting milk straight from the teat of a cow, right? The udders. That milk's whole milk to begin with, and like there's so much fat already. I mean, they could let it sit for like a couple hours a day, and all the fat solids will rise to the top. That's the cream rises to the top, right? And that's how the saying goes. And if you get like a jar or a bat, like or something like that, you put the milk in it, you start shaking it. You separate the milk solids from the the liquid, right? And then when you have leftover is butter. It's like super fresh butter, and then buttermilk, which is I personally am not a big fan of buttermilk, but it's great in like pancakes and breading for chicken wings, you know, that kind of thing, or anything like that. So I wonder, back in H-Town, did you spend any time in the backwood? The backwood corner. It used to be this dark, dirty alley with muggers, working even in daylight. I stayed there with Octavia, the miller, in exchange for doing chores for her. She had this small wooden hut. Let's see, we got 4 options here. Since the war, even soldiers have avoided that street. People say it's home for thugs. Or she wouldn't recognize it. It's now a respectable street with one of the fanciest inns in the city. The Apple and the Boar. Or it would make you feel like you're in the old days. Boarhead Inn is almost 50 years old now. There's no such street anymore. It fell to a great fire. Jeez, are we just making up the story as we go? Or like we're saying what the history is of this place? I don't know. I want to say that you want to come back to a place that's long-lived, right? Explain that while the place is still called the bad part of the city, the Boarhead makes a good coin selling beer and ale to students, mercenaries, and adventurers. The whole land may turn wild one day. You quote one of the local traders, but backwood corners will stay the same. That's pretty funny. This place will never change, right? And I hope that this town would never change in some respects, right? You need quiet places like this. She sighs with relief and puts her left hand on her hip. Comforting, don't you think? That there are these places, these dark corners, where you can always find what you expect. Living there, though? That sounds awful, and always was. I bet the thugs of my youth are no longer around, so I wouldn't count on them giving me a free pass. But I wish I could have a chance to drink a mug or two, the innkeeper once more. The old lady was always too good to stay in the muck. What would make you consider joining H-Town? Have you ever heard of the necromancers in the north? You seem fairly well off than the other people in the village. What's your secret? And then she can also tell us more about what's going on around here. I mean, we're here for a job, but I'll consider it right now while she laughs. Her eyes remain keen, but if you want me to give you some answers, let's see. She looks up to the right, theatrically, raising her hand to her chin. Some good gestures of goodwill would be a great start. Since you're the guild's messenger, I need to know you can be relied on. She gives you a wide grin. A wide white grin. And that's the only first step, I assume. The Sport of the Howler's Dell. New entry. Of course, do you even have the power to handle tax negotiations? Loudly, she scoffs loudly at your head shake. Do enough for my village. I hand you a beautiful signed letter, list of all the things my neighbors are looking for, as well as what they can give in return. Your superiors are going to see more than enough to prepare their offer. She rubs her hands. I think that's fair. Yeah, looks like we're in agreement. I mean, that's what I'm gonna pick, but this one's a bit rude. Do enough for my village is a bit vague. I mean, new mundane jobs available in the village. Oh, we can do jobs in the village. Cool. Okay. Kind of like that berry pickup quest. Like, go get these herbs and things, you know? Perfect. One more thing, though. She puts her elbows on the table, leaning closer to you. If you go behind my back, I'm not going to wait for a dagger. I'll end you first. Damn. This lady's like a country, like southern lady right here. She'll put you down. No hesitation to protect her own kin. She rests her chin against her open palms, giving you a disarmingly warm smile. I'm sure people already know that we have a new RoadWarden. Maybe ask around to see if anyone needs your help. The more neighbors trust you and need you, the more willing they'll be to offer you better pay. Well, let's start here. What can I do for you? I'm gonna turn down the music slightly. There we go. And maybe even some of the ambience. Okay. Ah, so kind of you to ask. Before I ask you to run, let's see how far you can walk, shall we? Ah, damn. I like this lady. Her eyes wander left and right, and she gestures for a nearby guard to move away. He nods and then gestures at a few other souls to follow him. While a few of the locals cast curious looks at you, they turn away as quickly as you notice them. The mayor's shiny green eyes are locked on you, and her voice is close to a whisper. Since Asterion's disappearance, there's little trade on the roads, and not much news reaches us. Be so kind. Her flirtatious tone distracts you with how obviously fake it is. And help me lean, or learn some interesting tales about our neighbors. I smile back at her. You mean the ones that weren't meant to reach you? I'm not a, or we can say we're not a spy. You mean the ones that weren't meant to reach you? I mean, why not? These people, we're here to help the people, right? We scratch her back, she'll scratch ours. I think it's a fair deal. See, I knew that deep down you're a true sage. She teeters and straightens up, adjusting her cape without haste. Do you have something to share? We can say the soldiers who came here in spring were meant to find a good spot for a new outpost. The squad that made a camp at the southern crossroad is now nothing more than 2 people. They plan to return to H-Town before fall. Let's go with the second one. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to give them away like that. Make them sound weak. Or is that a good thing? Because that might tell them what kind of dangers they might be facing if like more bandits would attack this town. This is the most truthful we can be. Or we could tell them what the actual goal was. I don't know. Those soldiers were their first point of contact. I don't exactly want to betray them. But this town would be more useful to us. As a leader, you sometimes have to make choices, who to sacrifice and whatnot. And it's a really tough decision. So, this will probably protect my soldiers. And these people are new to me. I don't know them either. I don't know. I respect other soldiers, so I'm gonna go with this one. She smiles widely. You don't say. Knowing that, I'll prepare a few very tempting suggestions for the officials. After she seals her lips, she still lets out a quiet chuckle. You can also, we can tell them both, right? We can choose not to say this. Since they cleared that camp of brigands, they went so quiet I almost forgot about them. She rubs her chin with a thumb. I'm surprised they managed to stay alive till this day. Setting such an inexperienced group here shows that the officials has judged this land. Okay, that's all I have to say. Tell me, how do people dress in the city these days? Is it similar to what we have here? Before the war, merchants were wearing those really long dresses and robes. Way too long for my taste. They got mud stains after every rain, and I see no reason to keep shoes completely hidden. Not anymore. There's always a shortage of fabric. Most people wear tunics like in the olden days. For years there was not enough hemp and wool at hand, so people have started to wear furs again. As far as I can tell, many folks wear headgear. Not sure, I don't pay much attention to fashion. I mean, I would guess that there's a lot of furs. Now that's just sad. When I was there, only monks wore them. For some reason, I have no doubt that the vengeful beasts have thrown the roads into a nightmare. The city folk would be smarter putting on rags, even though she sighs. There's a cruel satisfaction in her smile. Maybe she's heard about the necromancers. That's a pretty big deal. She taps her finger on the table. Yes, I have. After you ask her to tell you more, she seems to regain her confidence. You mean White Marshes? For sure. I don't know all that much about what's happening there. We avoid their lands if we can. She frowns. I shouldn't gossip about it with strangers. We could talk about it on another occasion. Okay. Let's talk about her secret, about her wealth. She reaches for a buckle and her voice grows cold. There's no secret, traveler. There's hard work, risks, and sacrifices, and the support of those that care about me. Good things that happen to me shine on my people just as much. Think about it before you mention it again. She adjusts her cape. She bristled at our, I was in a ruined village south from here. Yeah, actually, I wonder if they know anything about that. That's kind of important. Her tense gaze shifts into an awkward click of her tongue as she leans away from you. I don't even want to think about their tragic fate. No one can negotiate with the wrath of the herds. A long pause, and I better not find you upsetting my neighbors with these sad questions. It was a challenging time for all of us, a wound we won't forget. The wrath of the herds. Huh. Alright, tell me about Heller's Dell. It is what it seems like, the greatest village in the far north. She raises her hand and makes an inviting gesture. I hope to still improve this and that, she winks at you. But is suddenly interrupted by the pained cry of a little boy who hurt his knee. During a fall. As an amused elder tries to calm him down, the mayor shrugs it off and teeters, then meets her eyes again. Life's good here. We have what we need, and now a lot about what we want. Building on top of more than 12 generations of hard work and bravery. She spends a good few minutes telling you about mouflons, wheat, rye, hemp, cheese, wool, proud of every glimpse of prosperity. Whenever she mentions an artisan, shepherd, or farmer, she doesn't miss a chance to mention how significantly she improved their condition. She also omits some topics. You hear of no tales, songs, ancestors, rituals, or days of prayer. It's like listening to a tax collector. It's very business. Only at the end of her speech does she mention the wisdom of the elders, now keeping in the teachings of the druids who help her guide those who trust her. They heal our wounds in our gardens, she explains, then changes the topic to all the fruit trees, hares, and nuts in the woods. I don't know if anybody's into that Supernatural TV show. It's like one of my favorite TV shows, even though it can be a little bit cheesy, right? But druids, it's like old magic, old pagan religion, right? And at least when it comes to supernatural dealings, do they have to sacrifice anything in return? Is there some secret that this town is not telling us about to keep for their, prosperity and their bountiful harvests? Like the Vikings back in the day would scatter blood and like sacrifice goats and things like that. When she's done with it, I nod politely. And does that equate to or make something more sinister here in this town? Is it all too good to be true? We talk and talk, but I still don't know where you are from, Mr. Wolf. What's your story? Have you lived in H-Town your entire life? We have 3 options here. The first one we have is away. Or excuse me, in a way. I know it as well as any other city folk. But every spring I trained in horsemanship in a nearby village. Or number 2, only for a bit. I was raised in a village just nearby and moved to the city after I decided to look for luck as a RoadWarden. My past is already buried, and let's not dig into it. Let's go with the first one. That sounds pretty, I was just about to ask about it. I can't imagine someone building a stable on a padlock in a place where you can't squeeze in a single new horse. Your accent is very city-like that of a merchant. We are kind of businesslike, aren't we? Let's see. I was in Pelt to the north. The innkeeper feels uneasy about Glaucia's band. You mentioned the raids in the northern villages. Her eyes narrow. Are you sure? It's the first I've heard about it. Glaucia has been around since years back, but she's not much of a nuisance. I'm just a messenger. He's asking for you to join forces with him. Well, I can't give you my answer. I won't ask our hunters to endanger their lives in the pursuit of some gossip. I could ask around and learn more about this. Or we could say, I don't have time for this. Should I tell the innkeep that you're not interested in collaboration? Let's go with the first one. She sighs with exaggerated relief. What a splendid idea. There are only 3 villages in the north. White Marshes, farther north by the western road. Gale Rocks, by the northern coast. And Creeks in the far east. Bring me news from those places and you'll get my answer. I'm paid for passing the message from here to Pelt to north. Asking me to ride for you through half of the peninsula and back is a different deal entirely. I can do that. I keep thinking, surely city folk don't eat just wild game. Salted fish and groats. What animals do people breed in the nearby villages? Mostly ibexes, they do well in the hills. There's a lot of mouflon, the monks need their parchment. It depends, mostly pond fish and fowl, but some can afford to buy boars. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's see. What do we say? Well, I'm not going to be a vegetarian here at the bottom. That's not something I'm about. There's barely any meat, so people have started to raise crickets and rats. That sounds awful. What do people eat in the city? Let's see. There's a lot of mouflons. The monks need their parchment. Let's go with that. Oh, that's terrible. You catch a hint of annoyance in her laughter. Our livestock won't sell well, but that's fine. It's hard to keep the number of lambs high. We'd need to sacrifice a field to raise a new flock. I saw a weird tree south from here, the one with the altar standing in front of it. She straightens up and raises her chin. You mean Beholder? The guardian spirit of our wetlands. Every fall we bring it our gifts, and in return it provides us with its blessed fruit. The flesh of the forest. She stares into your eyes. It's older than the oldest books and the oldest thoughts. The druids help us honor its sleep and show us how to ask for its help. Neither of these rituals, she scoffs, would be of use for you. We kind of chopped a bit of its root. Maybe I messed it up for them, you know? I just attacked that tree and now it won't help them anymore. I may have just doomed them to be cursed. I feel a little bad now. I was just curious. And I thought it might have been like a monster we'd have to raid down. But I don't know. Do you need any assistance? First, I need you to be sure you can handle yourself. I think we already did that. You're in front of the Alp Inn. So, let's go talk to the Eric's. Alright, let's go to the trader first, see if we can look. The man behind the counter is inspecting a sack of white flour, mumbling to himself and occasionally cursing. The other locals walk away, giving you space to talk and trade in peace. Weevils, he points at a little dark blue insect that's trying to flee. Shit me fire to his ground a few days ago. Nay, pies for us tomorrow, looks like. He puts the sack on the ground. I'll take care of it later. RoadWarden, aye? Ava, the mayor cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your horse. Strangers are like ghosts to them now. He's wearing a simple brown robe, with no hood, a rope instead of a belt, modest trim made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him, and hangs from him like a bag. Yeah, like flower weevils are kind of a pain in the butt. Like they spoil the flower. because like they'll eat the flower and they'll poop in the flower and all that kind of stuff. And some people might be allergic to them even. But if you're poor or you don't have a good way to keep them out, and you can't like freeze the bag to make sure you kill all the eggs in there, then you know, you just sift through the flour and you try to get the weevils out of there. That's all you can do. And it's just extra protein, I guess. But yeah, he looks like a poor vendor from H-Town. He stands sideways to you with legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other one on his hip. He's around 40, short and a bit greasy, with a humble beard and hair. His fingers are unusually long. His fingers are unusually long. Is that something we gotta keep in mind? I mean, in real life, if you look at a person's feet or like their fingers, it doesn't say, you know, how big they are in the pants, but that's just a myth, right? But do the developers know that, or is it saying something like he's what's the word? I mean, there is a correlation to how big your fingers are in comparison to your pinky, right? And if your ring finger is bigger than your pinky, that means you have the correct amount of testosterone. If your ring finger and your pinky are not, about the same length, or one is shorter than the other, then you might want to get it looked into. So, but anyway, let's see what these options are. We can be friendly. You're a trader, I assume. I guess we'll see each other often. Are you a barrel collector, or do you sell them? Is the playful option. I'm looking for a trader. Be neutral, distanced. I'm here to trade, not talk. Intimidating. I may not be wealthy, but I need a few things. I mean, we're definitely not wealthy. We can try to beg our way through things, but I'm no beggar. I'm gonna go with the first option. Let's be friendly. This is a town of friendly people. For you, a trader. For Mama neighbors, the treasurer. Ah, okay, so he works the finances around here. The name's Akakios. Everyone brings here what they have in abundance, and I either sell it to travelers or divide it among the workers, builders, artisans. These things here need mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels, but I can show you our wares if you want. But do nay ask me for better prices just because you're a traveler. I need to explain myself for every deal I make, or Thias will laugh at me all the way to the pyre. This guy will take his job very seriously. I don't need furniture or barrels of food. Do you have anything of use for a traveler? It's just hard to say, What do travelers need? He clears his throat and turns away to have a look at his store. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, they carry an assortment of odds and ends. Tools made of wood and stone, pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. It takes him a few moments to look through the wares. He puts 3 packages on the countertop, and as he unwraps the first one, you recognize what it is by the shape alone. Tell me, this is nay a beauty. And lets you hold the shiny battle axe. The haft is long, but the head is light. I know what you're thinking. Your eyes say everything. He praises the weapon loudly. But you barely listen to him. You see your reflection in the unused blade. As sharp as they get. You're not a smith, but you see not a spot of rust. You take a swing, it takes hardly any effort. The leather straps holding the pieces together are just a decoration. The handle is as smooth as glass and perfectly fits into your hand. Man, Chuckles, you like it, eh? Now, I doubt you can afford it, but don't nay worry. That's not all we have. We already have a shiny steel battle axe, so I don't think we need it. But if we did need it in another run-through, such as being the mage or the scholar, we might get it here. His long fingers tap against the parchment windows of a lantern. It's a frame. Its frame is cheap, made of oak. 'Tis glued and 'tis quiet, he says. While shaking it in the air, nay, as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in caves without luring all the corpse eaters and the goblins. Perfect for a traveler. Just take a look. Now that's something we might want, a lantern. We don't have one of those, or torches. Inside the lantern, you find a place for a candle. Not a great match for people living in the wood houses. Hide and glue are easy to make, but I wouldn't ask for more than 4 rings. So, 4 rings for a lantern. The last sack is as wide as a saddle and 3 hands tall. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets. We usually keep them for traders, but we could use a few dragon rings, and who knows if there's ever going to be a next caravan. It gives you long luck. Interested? Depends on what you want it for. So, these linen sheets are a commodity. A wood lantern that's primitive, and a new battle axe. We already have the battle axe, but it's good to know what he has. He doesn't want anything we have on us. What can you tell me about Asterion? That Ava, though he was here more than once, didn't leave much behind. Smelly hoarder. He looks around and then spits on the ground. At least he bought a blade for me. Do you remember what blade it was? Sure, it was a special one. A sickle sword, with a tip wider than at the grip. Long as from the fingers to shoulder, nay a sword, nay a knife. Single-edged, brought his own steel to melt for it. What's it good for, fencing? More for cutting brushes. Creepers, roots. It will nay fell a tree, but it's a fine tool. So it's kind of like a machete. He nods to a passerby, but his smile disappears as quickly as it had shown up. Pathfinders use it. My pa used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it. Nuts and mouflons. So it kind of reminds me of like a... I mean, it's different, right? It's not a kukri, right? It's not a bolo, like a Filipino machete. But it'll do the job. He shrugs. Pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast, and bogs in the north. In the heart of the woods. Can they help you with it? Do you need any help? I could use a job. Know what? That's something urgent. I need a medicament for my mod daughter. Now that she's heard anything, he raised his open paws as if to show that he's not holding a knife. She's a teen and wants to start hunting in the woods. I could not teach her much, but I sleep better with her having a healing potion. He hesitates, almost 9 days. Bring me the potion before last dusk, and I'll pay you 5 dragon rings. Okay, 9 days to find a potion. That's okay. And something that we may want to use even, you know, but for the peace of mind of this merchant, this father, I may hand over a potion, especially if we have an extra. Where can I find such a potion? I can think of 2 places. The safer bet is beyond Old Pagos on the mountain of the crazy monks. Crazy and boring, more boring than a mouflon, but they often brew with Numa. You can also head south, east of the crossroads behind the Pelt of the North. I've never been there myself, but you'll find a dolmen there, as old as the city, and this? He reaches for his clinking pouch and pulls out a massive iron key. It's meant to open some secret passage there. She didn't want to take the stall after you. Huh. A strong elixir would be worth more than 5 coins. She didn't want to take the stall after you. Nay, but that's fine. She hates me. It's better for her to take after her mother. Your daughter hates you? His low voice sounds like grunting. Since you have to know, our laws make me admit I was a wife beater. I was a wife beater, and by my own deeds, I lost my family. My daughter has a new father now, and I'm nay allowed to marry again. As he starts to speak faster, he also wags his finger at you. But I'd never touch my girl. Keep her safe is the right thing to do. Even if he does, and they make things right. Jeez, this guy's a dark background, or dark past. A strong elixir would be worth more than 5 coins. Well now, 'tis all I can pay. He spreads his arm. I do nay sculpt, you stupid. The dragons I get here belong to the village. 5 is fair pay, and I'll mention telling the neighbors how helpful you are. He takes a deep breath and adjusts his robe, still sweating. I mean, kind of a discount we're bringing this potion for. We're doing it for a good thing and for a good word, right? So, reputation and a potion. How'd you know about that secret? From a merchant. She's from the south of Hag Hills. I was meant to pass the key to her friend, but he never showed up. And you've just been keeping this key at your side ever since? I kept it with my trinkets and coins, that's all. We were planning to go there for years, but 'tis one of those things that you would talk about, but nay, do it. His brief laughter turns into a cough. Sounds like he's getting too old for that kind of thing. Fine, I'll look for it. We're not too old. Nothing for now. I'll walk away. So we got a couple missions to do. I guess we'll talk to the innkeeper. Even though the counter stands outdoors, it's not rotten or dirty, and you guess that, like the other furniture, it's brought inside every night. Eric approaches you with a smile and leans on the surface with her fist. He's portly and even taller than his neighbors. He's got freckles, short gray hair, and an elegant beard. His long wooden orange tunic has a decorative cut right under the neck, and loose braids at the edges. How can I help you, traveler? His accent is heavy, nothing like his wife's. He stomps with a heavy boot and looks around, as if he's just waiting to get back to his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from the weeding in the garden. I just want to check the recording here. Okay. Do you have any food rations I could buy? Aye, I keep them in the hall. Smoked mutton, a sack of dried fruits, nuts, biscuits. Be fresh here, and pay with work. Coins are nay worth much. When he thinks his lips move at it well. His lips move as well. Let's say 1 ring for enough food to fill you for 2 days. And overland, that kind of price you would buy... That kind of price would buy you 3, even 4 times as much food. If you're in the mood for spending, I also have something special. Just give me a minute. He goes upstairs and returns with a small wooden box and a hand-long leather sheath. 'Tis a teeth set. You're afraid of what he's going to show you, but when he opens the box, you realize he meant teeth cleaning. See? Oh man. See, he points at the 3 different components: salt, cloves, and mint. He makes whatever you want here. The 4th holds only a small pestle and made of polished stone. And here are the twigs you need. They'll last for months. Seeing you're not convinced, he takes a deep breath. Well, we do nay let outsiders bathe in our creek. But give me 2 dragons and I'll ask my kids to get you into shape. You'll get a tub with soap and rose oil, and they'll wash your clothes in water. I'll cook you something nice, as much as you can eat. Show me those rations first. I kind of want these salt and cloves and mint leaves. So he says teeth set, as in like it's for brushing your teeth. So we can get our appearance up to maybe like 3, right? That'll be like one of our tools, the soap and the stuff to brush our teeth with. That's pretty cool. And if we want, we can buy some rations and get cleaned up as well. Let's see, the bath and dinner. In an hour, you'll get as much food as you can eat in a proper bath with laundry. So pretty much this will fill our food and then fill our cleanliness, I'm guessing. But we'll come back with 3 dragon rings when we can for this teeth cleaning set. The food rations. It's a 2 for 1. That's not a good price at all. We don't want to buy rations here if we can help it. How much is a room? Sure thing, he nods. My kids keep it cleaner than you'll find it. Find it in the city. Just tell me when you're ready. Any rumors to share? Rumors? Nay, really. I have my own things to worry about. Neighbors keep their own company. Better for everyone to seek help from my wife, or the 4 speakers. Nay, in a mug of ale. So no rumors, but maybe you've heard about someone who may need my help. You say it as if we expect travelers to get here any day now. I'll ask around. Come tomorrow. Have you had any interesting guests recently? I mean, you just told us there's no travelers, but we'll ask anyway. I do not know. I do nay know. He scratches his beard. There was one vagabond, but he was nae here for long, and did nae much. A timid fellow talks loudly, but is afraid of everything, especially the guards. His face is touched by flames. Has a big ballista. He says this word with a strained accent, smirking. And a large bird at his breast of a burden. I do nae know what to say, he shrugs. He went south and is most likely gone. He was touched by flames, as in he's got a burn scar. Has a big ballista. As in what, a crossbow? And a large bird as his beast of burden. So does he have like a griffin of some sort? Maybe as his mount? That's an interesting... They called him a vagabond? Doesn't sound like a vagabond to me. A vagabond means usually like a person who is poor, dirt poor, and like is a beggar, right? Okay, leave the square. So we were just at the main square. There's a lot to go to in this place. I had to buy on the tailor. You follow the guard's directions and reach the the whitewashed building stand on the western bank, next to a small garden of flowers and herbs. It's well kept and clean, with a plain, beaten front yard and parts covered with sand. Through the open windows, you catch a glance of the furniture, made of smooth, mostly shiny wood, with hints of dark, cherry-like red, decorated with carvings of plants. A woman in her 40s is sitting on a wooden bench. The table is covered with fabrics, threads, and needles made of bone and iron. She's sewing with a long sleeve to what's going to become a blue tunic. Excuse me. Her movements are quick and confident. Her brown, wavy, shoulder-length hair is tied into a wreath like braid. But other than that, her clothes are simple and inconspicuous. She doesn't have a left leg, but you don't notice any cane. You observe her for a few moments until, without sparring you so much as a glance, she encourages you to speak with a grunt. I'm looking for a tailor. You found one. Her voice is low. She doesn't stop her work. Name's Bion. Could you answer a couple of questions? The boredom in her voice is palpable. I'm nae a bard. She doesn't have... She's straight... Oh man, she's like a little rough there, huh? I'm interested in a new set of clothes. She stops her work and looks at you briefly. I can tell. You don't hear even a hint of mockery, but that's a lot of work, and they take my work lightly. If I were to give you anything, people would see it, and I'll let you show them some rags. And by that, you mean your prices are high. You reach for a pouch, and she answers with a nod. It'll take me a day or so to finish, and a fine fabric. Your city clothes are... She frowns. Just fine for the wilderness, I guess. What I'll give you is for the time with the lamb meat and mead, nay pathfinding. The longer the outfit you want, the higher the price. Though I'll consider the things people say about you as well. Fine, let's discuss it. Wow, these things are expensive, man. So this helps us, it probably has some bonuses to helping us talk to people, right? Gives us a better impression. A fancy tunic fitting for a rich city official takes 1 day of work, 25 dragon bones. A fancy robe would make you look like a merchant, takes 2 days of work, costs 30 dragon bones. And a fancy dress, good for a socialite or diplomat, takes 2 days of work for 35 bones. Oh, I mean, this lady tries a hard bargain, and she won't bargain with us at all. So, I guess, yeah, we can't afford any of that. Let's look at our inventory real quick. We're just wearing a gambeson right now. Jeez. Okay. Lady, your prices are insane. My gambeson needs some work. Take it off and point out a few abrasions. The woman follows your finger patiently. I take from 2 to 5 dragon rings for fixing jackets, but you'll need get anything more from this one. To get it truly strong for longer, I need it to be made of better materials like spider silk. Your prices are high. High, as high as my work's worth. Tell me more about the spider silk. So, I guess our armor is fine, a fine gambeson, but we need a spider thread gambeson, I guess. 'Tis a silk made by spiders, a meteor eyes. 'Tis the first one to break the silence, the larger ones. You use it to spin webs, it's stronger than thread. But my neighbors do nae walk to the woods nae more. 'Tis getting harder and harder to get any silk. Let me think about it. Okay, shit. So, gambeson repairs, is our jacket's as good as we were gonna get it. Outfit repairs. In 15 minutes, your clothes will get patched and tidy. It'll give us +1, what's it called? To our looks meter, but we're not wearing an outfit, right? And a gambeson enhancement, which would get us a 4 out of 3, or a 4 out of 4 instead of 3 out of 4. But we need spider silk, and also pay 20 more dragons. Jeez. Alright, it's good to know she's here though. The last people we can talk to is the priest, and we can either travel or take a nap here, but you got some daylight still. I don't want to waste it all. But we'll probably come back here to take a nap. We'll sleep on the floor or something. I go to the local priest. You head south of the dead tree, which I think this is the dead tree, so it's maybe over here somewhere. In the main square. Before you get to the second thatched building, a large man stands up from a bench and gets in your way. He's close to 50, taller than most people you've seen in your life, broad-shouldered. Or he's taller than most people you've seen in your life, broad-shouldered. His hair and short beard are brown, matching his elegant woolen robe. A thick club is attached to his right wrist with a leather strap. He left his sandals by a sitting spot. Many want to speak with our guides and teachers. He speaks with a solemn, strong voice. But you're nae welcome here. Turn back, stranger. Does he know that we don't have a shred of faith, I guess? Can I know why? You can. He swings his polished heavy weapon. You're from the outside, and can they be trusted? The boors and slaves of the United Church would crush us if they had a chance. Before we allow you to spy on us, we need to be sure 'tis worth it. Wow. So, I think these are the druids, right? They're people we're talking about. And, I guess we're technically our spy for, H-Town, right? And, we're like the law of the land plus a spy, a mercenary, a contractor, if you will, a surveyor, a recon specialist. But there's another option here. I'm your new RoadWarden. Are you sure that no soul here needs my assistance? I think that's the best thing we can say. His harsh look softens. We can handle ourselves. If that changes, Ellipsis will summon you. I don't want any trouble. He shrugs. Travelers bring their problems onto others. Their will means nae a thing. I'm not a spy. I do not believe you. So be it. I turn back. So, I guess we need more good reputation with the townsfolk. So if we give a potion to that guy, and we help out with the messaging, right? Maybe they'll talk to us. But yeah, what time do we got? We're at 59 minutes. This is a good place to stop. And we plan to travel, right? So this is where we're going to end, right on this screen. And if you want to see more on the next time, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.